All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the AP Special Needs Masterclass. This one is on James Lindsay. Is he a shithead or an asshole?
This is a big one. I
Very,
just want to
very
inform
huge.
the viewers that this is our 800th take.
You sure?
Yeah, I counted.
Okay, I was just wondering. I'm just gonna draw here a little bit while you tell them how mastercrafted this performance is.
This is LeBron's flu game. Not LeBron. Jordan. This is LeBron James, actually. That's what I was really trying to say. Whatever you think of LeBron James, that is exactly what you'll think of this video.
And if for anyone who doesn't know, this is what he looks like.
I took this picture in person, actually.
Yeah, we went to one of his live shows, his OnlyFans live shows. You know how he's like, there's like the OnlyFans thing on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There's like an OnlyFans live show for members only. We went to it and
Let me tell you something.
he was naked. By the way, we edited this.
His
on.
OnlyFans, worth every penny.
Let's just say it looks like this over here. Let's just say it looks like that, and it's worth it.
All right, let's get into it.
All right.
You start us off here.
Okay, so why the beef with my boy? He's okay sometimes. Jimmy be okay sometimes, and sometimes he's not. Really, the deal is he used to be kind of like interesting guy to watch. I mean, he'd go through all this old writings on like really shitty philosophers, like Marxist stuff, communist stuff, all those kind of things, and give you like a little summary of what was going on, and it was good. Like it was interesting enough to watch, and some of his ideas were like okay, like his little analysis side, but mainly it was just there for the summary. And he's kind of just like you're watching a documentary, like that was kind of what was nice about him.
Yeah, he spark noted retards.
Yeah, I mean anyone can do it, but he did pretty well. I'm gonna say he should get back to it. He was pretty good at that.
If he returned to that, I'd be a better world.
I think the whole issue, the whole arc, started with his like woke left analysis. I mean, this is not what we're criticizing here, but it started with that when he started to get like real political with things, as many people fall off when they do. It's just the truth. But yeah, he eventually got to the woke right, and basically what we're gonna talk about is just how we think his whole woke right like analysis is just like fundamentally flawed and just kind of bad. In general, it doesn't make much sense, and he doesn't even know what he's saying, I think, most of the time. Like,
No.
like literally, he doesn't understand what he's trying to say.
What I think happened is that a lot of people liked his spark notes of like Marcuse and Marx, and then he thought that they liked his thoughts on them and not just him covering them. And so he started sniffing his own farts and believing his own shit. And now we're here where he's calling everyone the woke right.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to get in before we go to the next slide is that the crux of the issue that he's going to have going forward, and the right wing in America is going to have going forward, is that people like him, the people that are like former Democrats that quote unquote like change teams, are not going to be a permanent fixture in the new movement because they haven't changed anything about themselves.
Yeah.
The right's gone through this really transformative period from like 2015 to now, and these former Democrats have not changed whatsoever. And that's just kind of boiling up to the top at this point. And that's really, I think, what his whole woke right thing is about.
It's also about his like refusal to change. As we throw back to the last video, he may be a resistant non-believer.
He's an admitted resistant.
He's an admitted resistant non-believer. But yeah, I think it's his resistance to change his ideas at all is kind of what made this boil up, his whole idea with the woke right, because they became the populist party with the populist president. And he has all these issues with it because he just refuses to change his ideas at all.
Yeah, he's just a boomer.
Okay, boomer. You're literally woke right.
All right, you got to read the title.
Okay. This is about the ultra mega alt new neo-reactionary techno woke authoritarian postmodernist conservative right.
All right.
Was that not clean?
That was so clean. It's cleaner than the font. The font's more confused than you are. So, Jimmy has no idea what woke is. He has no idea what the right wing is, and he's just running around confused, shitting his pants constantly.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah, it's on his OnlyFans.
Watch it.
So, for example, he labels everyone to the right of him woke right. This includes Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Dave Smith, everybody. And the problem with this is that none of these people are part of the same like singular group in the right wing. Like if you were to like divide up all
Daryl Cooper too.
Yeah, Daryl Cooper as well. All these right wingers into like different categories. Many of them come from very disparate categories. Like Dave Smith is you could barely consider a right winger.
Yeah.
He's as pure libertarian as they come.
And he has insane beef with them.
Yes. They go at it. They throw absolute hands. But yeah, it's like to put Dave Smith and Nick Fuentes into the same category. Like, yeah, y'all believe the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Clearly shows that you don't understand what's going on.
I don't think they'd be categorirized like close, really. Like you have to be like make a very, very, very broad category, which is exactly what he does actually.
Yes.
If we put both of them in it.
Yeah. Just to hammer home this, he has no clue what the right wing is. A direct quote from him: Hans Hermann Hoppe is kind of this arch-conservative alt-right kind of philosopher guy. No.
Actually, you got nothing right there.
You said a lot of words, buddy, and not one of them was worth a shit.
I don't know what Hans Hermann Hoppe he's listening to or heard about. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm just gonna quickly clear up the incessant Hans Hermann Hoppe slander.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone describes Hoppe as like this monarchist fascist guy.
Dude, literally everyone though. Yeah. They get it wrong.
It comes up a scary number of times.
Yeah.
What Hoppe actually said was that if you look at democracy and you look at monarchy and you ask the question which one is better or preferable from a anarcho-capitalist perspective, monarchy wins out. Because what it boils down to is that there's less people at the top to be tyrants to you. There's one guy that can be taken out and you can get to anarcho-capitalism. Whereas democracy, people have this feeling that they're involved in the system, and you end up having a large bureaucratic state that can oppress you, right?
Just think of how many people you would have to kill to end the government.
Exactly.
And that's basically...
Yeah, monarchy's like, it only takes one bullet.
That's all.
So yeah, like, Hoppe is not a arch-conservative, alt-right kind of philosopher guy.
He's not even like a philosopher.
He's an anarcho-capitalist.
Like, I don't even know what he's on about that.
Yeah, he probably heard it from somewhere and just never checked it and just assumed it was right. So that's the first part of his problem here, is that he has no idea what the right wing is. The second part of this that we're just gonna cover here quickly is that his definition of woke is literally everyone.
Yeah, it's just people who are oppressed and have a grievance.
Yeah,
that's it. And so you could say that basically any group at any time has been woke at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in all of like, unless you go all the way back and you find like the first guy and we don't know who came before him, it's like maybe he wasn't woke. You know what I mean? That's about it.
It's like the Jean-Jacques Rousseau, like man living by the stream under the tree.
Yes, like
the beginning of time.
Oh, wait. Is he oppressed by nature though?
He could be.
Like, it doesn't say what you're oppressed by either. That's another thing.
Yeah. Like,
it does not say you're oppressed by other people. You could be oppressed by anything.
Yeah, well, it's really what it comes down to is if you say, I got a problem and someone or something's treating me wrong, then you're woke.
Right, but the something, it's like, it could literally be anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it could be nature. It could be like, I don't know, something made up. It doesn't even fit anything. And also, he fits into the category, which is just hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think the thing argument it probably fits, because I would imagine he would describe Ted Kaczynski as woke, and Ted Kaczynski is like man versus machine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he was like oppressed by like modernization and like the Industrial Revolution.
Exactly.
You know, the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been
disaster.
I cannot say the rest legally. I legally cannot say the rest.
There was another point I wanted to get in here. You got anything?
I was just gonna say that the category is just so broad that it's totally meaningless. And not only does he fit into the group, I think literally everyone can fit into the group. And he throws it out there like it's like a little like a knife at someone. Like, I'm going to label, it's like the same thing people do with like racist or like anti-Semite and all these things. He's trying to make it like a new one of those where it's just like, you throw it out there and you're like, oh yeah, that's a bad dude. But it's like, you look at the definitions of like racism and anti-Semitism, you're like, yeah, that's something bad that I don't want to be, right? Like, I don't want to hate these people, right? You look at the woke right, or just woke, his definition of woke, and it's like, dog, this is like not even, what are you even talking about? Like,
my dog's woke when I don't give him a treat. Like,
come on, like, this isn't even a bad thing. Like, it's just, like, it means nothing.
Yeah, I will say, I think there's one group that he might not categorize as woke, and that is the establishment. Whoever's in power at the time, I don't think he describes as woke, because
Yes.
they don't have any grievances. They're in charge, right? Because everyone else is
Well-
like, the whole process of politics is like, I have a party, I have ideas and views. I want this group, my group, to be in power. And so that's enough of a grievance to be called woke. But if you're in charge and you get all the levers of power, you're like, yeah, shit's great, I'm in charge. So I think he would probably not consider them woke.
But it's like, then you can't really categorize many people as woke, right? Because they're in power right now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
You know what I mean? Because like the whole thing kind of falls off. He does, so I feel like he has to categorize the people in power, some of them at least, as well. And then it's like, well, if you categorize some of them, the only one you don't is the guy at the very top. Like literally, Donald Trump is the only one who's not woke right now.
oh, I know what
See
it
what
is.
I'm saying?
It's just everyone he doesn't like.
Yeah. Literally.
As it turns out, this makes no sense.
Yeah. As it turns out, he just throws us people he hates.
All right, on to this might be our greatest creation right here. Oh, beautiful.
This is the esoteric thing that I was talking about that might burn your eyes out. So please turn down your brightness and just close your eyes and listen to our beautiful voices soothe you.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what's going on here, that is Dugan
Oh, I
casting
need
a
to draw.
spell to prevent James from kissing men that aren't his wife.
So this is Mr. Doog, the Russian mastermind,
The ultra woke,
the Finnish wizard right here.
the wokest woke wizard that ever wizarded.
He was really wizard actually, really wizard.
Yeah. All right.
This is Dugan, sorry. this is James.
I almost can't look at this slide and like talk coherently.
This is men that aren't his wife. I hope I'm drawing this correctly.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and get into this.
I'll
So
keep working.
the reason Dugan is here is because James has talked about Dugan a lot and has referenced a lot of ideas that Dugan brings up, most notably like multipolarity and Dugan's postmodernism. And these are kind of things that he views as parts of the woke right, or really core parts of the woke right. And the problem with this is, one, he doesn't understand what's going on, and even if he did understand what was going on, he would still be wrong. He's on the wrong side of this.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the postmodernist part of this. Dugan talks about postmodernism in a very different way than like what you typically think of as like the 60s, 70s French philosopher postmodernism.
It's really a different thing, and I wish he would call it something else, or we would call it something else. But it's
Yeah.
kind of just like what it is. It's
could be
it's
a
totally
language-
different thing.
It could be a language barrier thing, because I don't think Dugan doesn't speak very good English. I'm pretty sure all of his books are written in Russian. But it's
And if they are in English, it's probably done by an outside translator, anyways.
a better word for it would be anti-modernist or anti-modernity.
Yeah.
So the core thing that Dugan talks about is this idea that fascism and communism, which were two of the three ideologies of the 20th century, have failed. And the third ideology, liberalism, is soon to fail and will need to be replaced.
Right. And he doesn't say like capitalism, like most people would. He says liberalism.
Right. He's making a very particular point that like
yeah.
think like the 90s, early 2000s, like uniparty liberalism in the United States. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that it's going to go away and it's going to be replaced by something. And so that is the anti-modernist part of this. That there we had the modern era that was the 20th century. It was the most violent century in all of human history, and we need to get past it, and we're going to have to look elsewhere for the future. And so he talks about looking to pre-modern society to get ideas on how to build a future society. James describes this as woke. This is a big woke thing.
It doesn't even make sense, honestly,
Yeah.
for it to be woke, because it's the thing with Dugan's postmodernism is it's just, let's go look at old ideas and see if they work and make us better. And honestly, that seems like traditionalist, if anything, which is like,
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like, you would think it'd be kind of opposite of like what you would think of as woke. Like what woke's been used around as before this whole woke right thing was kind of like opposite of traditionalism.
Yes.
In many ways, and that's kind of like what Dugan is all talking about. That's this whole postmodern thing.
So the big kicker here, right, is that James won't shut up about this. He talks about how everyone is sniffing Dugan's crotch. They're all, praising him. They're all woke right. But then we look over at what the MAGA movement is actually doing in this country, And they're doing exactly that. That's exactly what Trump is about.
Yeah.
He's all about tariffs. He talks a lot about McKinley. And he's all about getting the Panama Canal, expanding to Greenland.
Let's rename the mountain.
It was a beautiful mountain till it got renamed. Anyways, these are all pre-modern American ideas and policies. And we see Trump pulling all of these things back from the pre-modern America into postmodern America.
It literally fits with the Make America Great Again thing. It's like the thing. It's like, let's go back. Let's make it how it was.
Yeah. And so do we see James like pitching a fit and pissing his pants about this? No. He has nothing to say about Trump doing what he would describe anyone else talking about as like woke right shit, because that's not really what he cares about. Or because he's worried about ruining his fan base because he's a little crybaby that needs attention all the time.
He's scared to go against, the popular beliefs at the time at all, I think is what it is. And he also goes against, like, very specific, very random people in many ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you just look at who he goes against, it's like, these guys don't have much in common.
No.
It's like...
And then when he lists things that are, like, policy things that he doesn't like,
yeah.
he doesn't go against the people who promote those ideas.
Exactly. You good?
Other thing I wanted to cover was he has a comment about multipolarity. And this is another part of Dugan's beliefs that he gets really upset about. I think he was talking about Tucker Carlson had mentioned this multipolarity change in the world and was like, Tucker's so obsessed with this multipolarity thing. Multipolarity, if you don't know, is another thing that is kind of coined by Dugan, and it's this idea that before the fall of the Soviet Union, there were two poles in the world. There was the Soviet Union and the United States, and once it fell, we entered an era of unipolarity.
Just switch polarity with world power and you get it.
Yes, exactly. And so the United States has been the singular world power for like 30 years at this point, and it's looking
more than that.
Is it? Well, it was 1991.
Oh, okay. I was slightly a few years more than that. My bad. I'm sorry.
This guy's checking my math out here.
I'm sorry.
The point being that Dugan predicts that we're going to move towards a multipolar world again, where there's going to be, whether it be Russia or China or India, there's going to be other nations that rise to prominence and will compete with the United States for its sphere of influence. So basically, what percent of the world each country can influence and have, singular influence on. This is just true. This has been true for probably the past 15 years minimum, probably longer.
I mean, yeah. You look at the concerns of all, like, politicians, it's like, we need to take down this country. This country's going to come at us. China. We got to get China. It's like, it's all in the concern. They're concerned about creating a multipolar world. Or coming into one. That's, like, the major concern of, like, I don't know, everyone, almost. It's like, you've never heard someone not talk about China becoming a world power, or, like, Russia becoming a world power, or like, anyone that's, like, remotely threatening to the United States is like, we gotta stop them. Yeah. We gotta threaten nuclear war.
India superpower by 2025.
Dude, they're buying too many metals. They're gonna own all the gold in the world.
So, the issue with this is that he posits this as like some sort of woke right belief, when it's really just a fact of the world that multipolarity is always on the horizon. World empires have never been the norm. They've always been the exception. Yeah. And in fact, the new right-wing movement, in my opinion, has pushed back multipolarity on the horizon.
Yeah. And I think that's their goal, it seems like.
Most people in the right-wing movement have that feeling as well, that like, if the Democrats had won again, we would have fallen off the world stage. We wouldn't have been in charge anymore. We would have lost control. We would have lost the world empire. And this new right-wing movement has definitely, it's felt like it's pushed multipolarity away, right? Probably because they are aware that multipolarity versus unipolarity is a thing and that it's on the horizon and we need to be aware of it.
Yeah.
But James doesn't care about that. He just cares about calling people woke. So that's where we're at with him.
Yeah. We'll go on to the next one.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Very important. Okay, this is an AP Special Needs Masterclass for James specifically on how to talk to people. Mm-hmm. He needs to learn how to communicate. This is an important step.
This really is. The reason we're helping Jim Bob out here is
I
because
thought it was Jennifer.
no, that's later, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, oh you're right, the cat lady. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
He's Jennifer here.
He's gone woke.
I'm woking in my pants.
If James wanted to actually win arguments intelligently with people who he describes as the woke right, he would need to do what we're about to describe instead of what he does. And that would be primarily steel manning your opponent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you that first easy real world example for you that you can apply in your own life if you don't do this already. You probably do this already if you're in AP special needs.
Yeah, you definitely do this already.
You're probably going to hear me describe this and you're like, doesn't everyone do that shit?
You'd be like, I did this yesterday, dude.
And the answer is no. Most people don't do this, especially James.
They're not AP.
Exactly. So you go into work and your boss starts talking to you and he's like, hey, I need you to start coming in 30 minutes early. Okay? Now, you know already that he wants you to come in without pay. I'm sorry. Hit me the second time.
Come on.
He wants you to show up early. You know that he doesn't want to pay you for that. You know that he just wants you to come in and work and not get paid. So instead of accusing him of wanting you to work without pay, you should open with, oh, great, thanks. I really could use the extra time. I'll be sure to clock in 30 minutes early tomorrow.
Yep.
And then you let him be like, no, I don't want you to get paid. I want you to work for free. And then you're like, oh, okay, you're just being an asshole to me right now. That's the way to do it. It's called steel manning, right? You assume the best intentions and the best possible outcome for your opponent, and then you let them prove you wrong. And you let them tell you how dumb they really are, right?
You hear their argument, you're like, okay, so I'm going to lead you down the best pathway possible for this argument and let you choose if you want to argue this your best way or pick your dumb way. And that's how you can call them stupid and all these things and destroy their arguments or whatever you want to do because, you know, it seems like you're kind of like a debate bro wannabe, even though you don't really do it. It's kind of weird. But this is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm. And so we have a great example of an opportunity for Jimmy Johns to do this. And that would be the H-1B debacle that happened a few months back. So, if you live under a rock, there was a whole big scandal. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be offensive to our rock-dwelling followers. Speaking of rock... Just kidding. Disavow. We love our Indians.
We love them. They're amazing.
There was a whole scandal about H-1B visas.
We need more of them.
H-1B visas are for skilled
Indians.
labor. They're only for
skilled Indians.
Listen, it's because they're the most skilled. Okay?
We need infinite Indians.
We're never gonna stop making jokes on H-1Bs. So, the complaint was that people were saying that H-1Bs don't bring over skilled labor; they bring over unskilled labor that get paid like skilled labor because it's a whole scam. Jimmy, instead of steel manning it, just called everyone racist, called them woke, said that this is just about you hating Indian people. All right, now we're gonna apply the steel man thing. What he should have done, right, is been like, oh, I understand that y'all have seen that there's some of these H-1Bs that look unskilled, but you know, I'm sure that that's a small issue that can be ironed out, and the overarching benefits of having skilled labor come in from foreign countries, especially India, is really great. And then you let your opponent be like, no, bro, I hate Indians. They smell bad. And then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're a dipshit. You know, or,
you're just racist. He doesn't just come at them and be like, okay, guys, so y'all are worried that like all these unskilled ones are taking away American jobs and all this stuff. No, he's just like immediately jumps to the end.
Yep.
And assumes you're retarded and assumes you argued on no basis. He just assumes the worst, and it's like, dog, what you're saying is pointless because it doesn't even apply to these people most of the time.
Right. And a big problem with this is that he is pushing people even further right by doing this. So one of the core things to understand, I think, about politics is that in a lot of situations, the complaints the extremes have and the complaints the center have are very, very similar. A good example of this would be like
how to fix them. That's the difference.
Exactly. So like think about like the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. There's a bunch of right-wingers that are really concerned about America's health. Wow, that sounds a whole lot like Bernie Sanders talking about how everyone needs free healthcare, right? Yeah. They both look at the American health and the healthcare system. They're like, this is not right. There's something wrong here, right? If what you do as a centrist, like Jimmy, is say, oh, y'all are just wrong. There's nothing wrong with the healthcare system. Being upset about healthcare is woke. You're only going to push people away from you, because normal people are going to look at you and be like, well, no, they're making a good point that there's a problem. It's just that, I don't necessarily agree with their solution.
Right.
But you don't think there's even a problem. So
Yeah.
I'm closer to them than I am to you.
Right. And when everyone keeps saying that there's no problem, it just fosters more and more like further out solutions to fix the problem. And that's all it does. And obviously we're not saying that James Lindsay is like anti-healthcare. It's just he does the similar thing with other issues.
It's the same play on every topic.
Yes, every single one.
Anything else we got here?
I think we're good.
All right.
Oh, wait. I do want to just make sure if y'all missed it. So this image, this is James sucking something, and it grows. I just want to let y'all know that this took a long time, guys. I'm not paid for this job, but as new editor, since we fired our Indian, it's been rough. I've been working hard.
It's been real unfortunate.
Yeah. We'll go to the next slide.
Let's hire a Chinese H-1B this time.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll think about it.
All right. Final back shots.
Oh.
First thing I want to open with here is not on the point list, but I just want to make a point of talking about the fact that James has a really short temper. He gets upset very, very easily. He's constantly saying shitty things to people, having little, unnecessary jabs at everyone, even to the point where it detriments his own argument. One of my personal favorite examples of this was him talking about how Mike Cernovich was this, like, mastermind right wing like thought leader.
Yeah.
But then he also immediately after saying that, he goes, it's not like anyone listens to this guy anyway. He's like no followers. He's I don't even know why people listen to him. He's retarded.
At the same time, he runs the world and he's the most smartest, most beautiful, most intelligent thought man, but he's also stupid.
Yeah, it's just what left wingers did with Trump for the past 10 years. It's just like, yeah, he's a big orange doofus, but also he's like a secret Manchurian Russian candidate.
Yes, it's just ridiculous, and it's funny because it's like the people who he calls woke left do so many of the things that he does exactly the same. It's like, look in a mirror, man. Like you're doing the people you're calling out. You're doing the exact same thing as them.
Exactly. The reason I want to go ahead and make that point is that it leads in kind of a more general suspicion we have about James Lindsay, which is that he's very insecure.
Yeah,
and
incredibly.
Just lashes out at people constantly because of his insecurity.
Yeah.
I think that almost everything he says is just motivated by him feeling like he hasn't been given enough in life.
Yeah. He's basically just like a failed debate bro in some ways, and it's like, I think that is a basis of a lot of his insecurities. But it also would add some substance to him cheating and possibly beating his wife. Because he's like, I gotta sleep with all these women to make me feel like a man, and like all this stuff. But all of his other actions kind of align with like these insecure actions that he takes, like calling out people saying, oh, he doesn't even have any followers. Like, dude, you get like 12K views. Like, that's not that much. Like, our video's gonna get like 10 mil.
Exactly.
Easy. And I'm not shitting on you. Like, I don't know.
I'm trying to flex, bro, but
I'm not trying to flex, but the whole nation of India watches this 2 times a second.
I think until James gets as many viewers as us, he's definitely woke.
Woke centrist, certified. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he lashes out on people like he does and does it to the detriment of himself and his own like integrity and like what is it?
To the detriment of the strength of his arguments.
Yes, the strength of his arguments. That's what I was gonna say. It just like screams insecurity to me. Yeah, and that's why I think he actually does cheat and beat his wife.
Yeah, there's been some major cheating allegations going around, and given his insecurity, it is totally on brand for him. One other thing I wanted to mention was his lack of discourse on Curtis Yarvin and like the tech monarchist right, as the actual left-wingers like to describe
Such a
them.
jargon term, man.
It is.
It's so dumb.
You just add enough words that no one knows what's going on, and they just like, oh, this guy clearly knows what he's talking
That's
about.
the goal, man.
Yeah. So
Just be like the doctors, man.
for those of you who actually have a life and don't read shit all the time online, which you should. You should read everything online and trust all of it. It's all true. Anyways, Curtis Yarvin is this political thinker that is really into monarchism. And the left wing has been going absolutely bananas about him recently because Peter Thiel, who is a big funder of Donald Trump and, what's the vice president? J.D. Vance.
Bro, you don't remember J.D. Vance memes, bro?
I know.
You gotta remember just by seeing that.
All I could see was the baby face.
The baby one?
Yeah.
The obese ones are goated.
Yeah, Thiel is a big funder of a lot of the MAGA people, and Yarvin is one of kind of the favorite thinkers of Thiel. The left wing has been going absolutely bananas about this. Yeah. They think that they're literally going to make Trump the king of America for life.
It's going to be like Warhammer. He's going to be like the God Emperor King or whatever it is.
Exactly. That seems like that would qualify as woke right. I don't know. I'm throwing no shade at Yarvin. He has some interesting shit, but I think by any of James's definitions, those guys would be very much considered woke right, and very important woke right people because they're very close to the top.
If we steelman his arguments here, we will see that Yarvin seems to fit the perfect mold of what we would say the woke right is.
Whoa. I liked that, Reader's Digest audiobook voice. But we don't see James talk about these people. It could be because they're all atheists just like him, and so he feels like some sort of kinship towards them.
That's kind of a common thing, honestly. So it could be.
It could
no
also
shade, but it is a common thing.
It could also be that James just is not nearly as educated on right-wing politics as he pretends to be, and so he literally doesn't even know this exists.
And you'd really think he would try to make this kind of jump with Yarvin and monarchism and all this stuff, because he talks about what is it? It starts with an A, and it's the one guy that's in charge, authoritarianism. He talks about it a lot and how this is what the right is going towards is authoritarianism, and this is the new kind of argument that everyone's jumping on. It's well, all these monarchists are close to Donald Trump or whatever, they fund him and all this stuff. And he's not even talking about it at all. And it's kind of it's what he would be talking about. It just seems odd.
Yeah, it is weird. The other explanation is that James doesn't care about who's woke and who's not. He just cares about talking bad about people he doesn't like and who have bigger followings than him.
Yeah. Or smaller.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Punk him down. Maybe he likes sitting in the chair.
He definitely likes sitting in the chair.
You can't tell me you haven't seen that guy stare at you in a chair while you're banging a hot MILF.
Yeah, I can see it. I want y'all to just look at James here, swap his face with Jakob, and put James in Jakob's position in a chair, and tell me you haven't seen that before.
It's happened to me, I will
Those
say.
of you with aphantasia, click off the video. Block us, never engage.
It's not meant for you. This video
It's too much. It's too much for you.
Oh yeah, on his atheism. You may have seen our first video. Why Alex O'Connor may have said the N-word at Oxford University. It was totally about that. But his whole atheist thing, it just seems... You can be whatever you want to be, but it seems inconsistent with his beliefs. And he has nothing supporting it. I mean, all his other claims are his beliefs are these are all the reasons why I believe this and all this, and why I'm right about being, a classical liberal and all this stuff. And it just seems like his atheism is one of those things that's the most low-hanging fruit that doesn't align with anything else. Also, the whole thing with Charlie Kirk, you can go.
Oh, yeah. There was I think it was when he was on Dave Rubin, when James was, and he was talking about how Charlie Kirk asked him about the assassination attempt on Trump, and he asked James whether or not he thought that was a miracle. And he was James said, he's I don't see any way that wasn't a miracle. And then Charlie was okay, well then how are you still an atheist if you believe an actual miracle happened? And James went, I don't know, but I'm still an atheist. And even Kirk was out here doing the Lord's work, man. I don't know how Charlie Kirk made such a turnaround. 2017, he was literally touring with drag queens, and now he's just absolutely putting out bangers.
Yeah.
I don't understand how it's happened.
He's been hard at work, man.
He's had a real turnaround. But Kirk insists every time that James describes himself as an atheist that he changed it to agnostic. And despite all of this, right, I literally watched a miracle on TV. I'm probably actually an agnostic. He still insists on calling himself an atheist.
Why?
He is the most resistant non-believer that's ever resisted belief.
Actually, I think part of the reason he might be atheist is it goes back to his insecurity.
Yeah.
I think he might be scared to like confront what religion might chastise him for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe something like this, and you know, he's maybe thinking like, I couldn't deal with these sins, or maybe I couldn't deal with, you know, having to stop these things. 2 exclamations, please,
Oh,
for
I got
emphasis.
you.
But yeah, it's just a very interesting thing that he is that way, but he seems to not be as resistant as someone like him usually is.
Yeah.
So, very odd.
The last thing I want to close out with here is that I mentioned this briefly earlier. We'll get into it a little bit more if we finish out, and that's that the right wing in America went through a pretty drastic transformation ever since Trump became the face of it, and a huge part of that was the rejection of neoconservatism. Mm-hmm. So the conservative party of your grandpa is like the Bushes, the Cheneys.
Oh God.
You know, the infinite war, all the spending on bombs, killing everyone who looks at you wrong, right?
Wait, he only eats 1 grain.
He only eats 1 grain.
You killed the man that only eats 1 grain a day. He lives in a mud house.
The new right has rejected this.
He didn't even learn to read. You couldn't teach him to read. We need a whole school of bombs. A whole school. Mm-hmm. 1 school's worth of bombs. You realize
it's the only way to take them down.
That's the Bushes.
Yeah, that is the Bushes. But the new right-wing movement is a rejection of all of that. The right-wing movement has, in a sense, already shed its, like, 20th century liberalism. It's already done the postmodern New World thing.
Now we don't even need school buses. We're going to cut the spending.
Exactly. We're just going to cut USAID, and that guy doesn't get his 1 grain of dirt anymore.
He doesn't even get it. He's just going to die from starvation now.
Yeah. The left wing has not done any of this. They have continually doubled down and gone further and further down the same path, and it's gotten them dick.
You can just look at who the presidential candidates are. Like, think if Bobby Kennedy ran on the Democrat side instead of Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that would have actually been a close election, I think.
Yeah.
I think Bobby probably would have won.
He would have had a good chance.
He had a good chance. I mean, kind of incumbent party, pretty centrist, and they discarded him entirely and went for a way worse candidate, Kamala. I mean, it's just very obvious in the presidential candidates too.
Yeah, and so James correctly observes this in the Democratic Party, that like they have continued down the same path that's only going to lead them to worse things. What he fails to realize is that he is also doing the same thing. He wants to go back to the falling part right before the land, right?
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, he just wants to go back to the 90s liberals right before they all went insane.
He literally just wants to go to Bill Clinton.
Yeah, exactly. So until he realizes that the beliefs that he has led to the modern Democratic Party, he's never going to improve, and he's never going to find a proper place in the new right movement.
Yeah.
And he probably won't find a place in whatever the new left-wing movement is, because we're probably going to see some kind of transformation with them, maybe not in the next 4 years, but maybe in the next 8 or 10.
Yeah.
They're going to have to adapt because they are day by day becoming a more and more outdated political ideology.
Yeah.
And so he's just going to end up finding himself with no party because he's going to be left in the past and everyone's going to have moved on.
And honestly, I don't even know if he wants to find himself in a party.
Yeah, he gets to complain if he's not in any party.
Yeah, I think he just wants to sit there and complain and be an old grandpa about everything and just be like, I'm the only one that's right. Everyone else is stupid. If you don't listen to me, you're dumb. And I get 12,000 viewers and you get 10. I don't know. It's just, I feel like he just wants to complain. And he's that one grandpa that hates everything and wants to die.
Old man shakes fist at sky.
And he just won't die.
Yeah. All right, anything else? Ready to conclude it out?
You know, drop a comment on a next video.
Yeah, we need targets.
We need targets.
We have so many ops out there, we don't even know who to pick next.
It's like the list is overflowing, and I can't deal with it.
For real. We have gotten a hold of Santa's naughty list, and it is so long we don't even know who to go to next. So, like and comment who you would like to see next.
Another thing. There was multiple emojis that I was going to include. If you go back to the first slide, there is an emoji of a man in like a wizard or party hat with his booty cheeks out. There are other emojis that I would love to see, so I don't know. Maybe in the future you'll see some of those. We'll see. I just want you all to get excited for the next slides because I'm really cooking, guys.
I banned those from this one. Maybe they'll make it to the next one.
My co-host didn't allow me to do such things.
How dare you call me co-host?
Very annoying. This freaking co-host, man. What's wrong with him?
All right. I think that's enough.
That's
We're rambling now.
Yeah.
Catch y'all later.
Bye-bye. If I can get this damn button. Guys, comment if you know how to do this a more efficient way.
Go to the pointer.
Oh, I found it. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later.